Welcome to Cat the Minion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. This is an entity channeling, and it started maybe a year ago. Oh no, it wasn't a year ago. It was like sometime after February. I think that was the last channeling I did. It was understood to me that I was going to have to do a round table. There was going to be a bunch of different entities coming down to do like a symposium or whatever, and I had to prepare glyphs for each seat, and I had too much going on and I had to keep postponing it. And then when I had time, it's like it wasn't going to happen anymore. And because I was like, okay, now I have time, I can do it. And then it's like, it wasn't right. So, and it wasn't like, oh, you missed out, you should have done it. It was like, we're in a different timeline now. And I don't do channelings. I don't like seek people out. I don't say like, oh, who am I gonna dig into their energy? Who am I gonna call in from the ether? And like, who am I gonna summon? You know, like as if I were like doing parlor tricks. So it's been months and months and months. A lot of the times I'll still be busy and I'll be like, oh, I can't do that right now, I'm tired, or I've got these 8 other things that I'm working on. But if somebody really wants to come through, they'll keep bothering me. So I've had Eva Cassidy in the back of my mind for at least a week. And I knew it was getting closer to time. I thought it was going to be closer to Halloween. I was like, okay, well, the veil's going to be opening, so that's, you know, like looking at, like, so what time is it? It's about that time. And crickets. I feel like she had somebody with her one night when I couldn't sleep, or like 7 in the morning when I went to bed and I still couldn't sleep. Whatever, you know what I mean? I thought there was somebody else, and I was like, oh, it's going to be a back-to-back. And I made Eva Cassidy and then this other person. And I don't know who it was now. I feel like I've seen Amy Winehouse with Eva Cassidy, like, in the background. But I don't think it was her. I don't feel like she wants to talk. I feel like she's just kind of there. Like they're kind of, like, roommates or something. Like they're hanging out. But, like, it's not like an insistent, like, you have to do this now. She's not pushy like Gabriel or George Michael, but she definitely just keeps appearing. So I went to read up on her a little bit. Some people got real nasty in the comments under my Jeff Buckley. They're like, you got this wrong. This isn't the right information. His father committed suicide, or whatever. And I'm just like, you know, I didn't do research before I did that video. And the stuff that I was saying was the imagery that I was given. So it's sort of like, if you're so triggered by inaccurate biography, let's put it that way, then that means that you're not supposed to watch the video and get anything out of it if that's all you can think about is like, you know, he drowned in a river, he didn't walk into the ocean. But that's what he was showing me. You know, maybe not on this timeline. So anyway, I left it like that. I'm like, you know, I'm not going to change it. If people want to be triggered, they can be triggered and not get the message. But I deleted one of the people that was really nasty. They were like left like 3 comments, and they were like, I can't deal with this. I hate, like, this is so stupid. What do you do? And I'm just like, it's one thing to say, hey, this is what actually happened, and then I'd be like, oh, thanks, I didn't realize that. Whoopsies, you know, like, whatever. Like one other person did. They're like, well, actually, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I was not aware of that. But You know, like when you're trying to tell a story and you sort of misremember something and you find out later that it was like, oh, it was actually like, you know, a green dinosaur in a bandana, not a purple dinosaur in a scarf. Like, whoops, close enough. You know, you get the like the gist of it. So anyway, that one, it's not like misinformation. It's just like a different impression. And if people are like off put by it, it means that there's like a gate on that reading. This it's like if if this is what you're gonna see, then you can't get the message. But I was sort of wanted to avoid that with this, and just to like felt like it wasn't really necessary to have any firewalls on it. So I went and looked it up because I had a general idea. I'm like, okay, she was like real young. It was like somewhere around 97. She was like 30 something, and she died of cancer. But I wanted to make sure. I'm like, okay, I'm like, did she actually die of cancer? What was it? So she was 33, 1963 to 1996, and she died of melanoma. And it was a malignant mole on her back, and I guess it was like treated or looked at or something. And then, like, right when she was starting to get albums out, finally, she had, like, it metastatized into her bones and everything, and she was having hip problems, and then she died, you know, by the end of the year because the treatment was not doing it. But it just, I mean, I know the Wikipedia page isn't like the end all be all, but like reading it just gave me this, like, I always pictured her as this like sort of sweet and good natured person who was just kind of shy and just had a really beautiful voice and just kind of, you know, almost like waded out into the grass in the middle of a field and like beamed up or something. But reading the Wikipedia page, it was like a very like multi-interest, multi-genre creative person, you know, painting and jewelry and the jazz and the blues and the rock and everything. Sort of hard to pinpoint, and I can relate to that because I'm I'm not consistent in my artwork. Like if you look at it, if you look at my sewing projects, if you look at my charcoal drawings from college, if you look at my acrylic paintings and my Sharpie drawings and my fashion designs and my dinosaurs and my book characters and my foam lotuses and my dolls, you'll you'll see that there, and like the Sculpey figurines that I've made, there's like a consistency in like the voice that's coming out, right? Like if you listen to her songs, you're like, oh, it's the same voice, it's her, I know it's her, even though it's this genre and this genre and this other genre. So just pointing that out is just sort of like I relate to what she was doing, because you know, it's like I do more than one type of art medium, right? I do stuff on the computer too. Just I don't usually have time to draw on the tablet, but when I can't afford art supplies, then you gotta like the only way to color something in is digitally. But she's, you know, she was doing physical media and the singing, right? Like people who like knit and do crocheting and stuff. I suck at that. So that's like an art form that somebody's gonna do, and then they might do jewelry, right? Because I can't fucking do jewelry either. And they might do like basket weaving, or they might do a different type of painting, like they might do oil paint. You know, I hate oil paint because it's messy and sloppy and the colors aren't as bright. But it's and it smells. But it's like, it's that kind of thing. I'm like, I never really thought that there would be, like, I didn't realize there was that kind of a connection. I'm also noticing, like, 33, right? 3 is my favorite number, and then we got 3 thrice 11, making 33. And I was thinking, oh, wait, was it, I was like, wait, wasn't Marilyn Monroe 33? I'm like, no, dumbass, she was 36. So it's sort of, you know, I mean, it's kind of stupid, but it's, you're sort of numerically sandwiched between the 27 Club and Marilyn Monroe's age of 36. But just, like, especially right now, because I've been seeing 11 repeatedly with other numbers and other, like, double numbers, that the 33 of her age when she died is just really, like in there. And then it like reminds me of my cousin, because my cousin, by the time they found out my cousin had cancer, she was about the same age, plus or minus a little bit, and was stage 3, right? It's already like metastatizing, not the same cancer, but it just like, it feels eerily familiar. It's like, it's not the same thing, but it's, you know, in the same wheelhouse, right? It's like, you know, like, this is the, like Colombian coffee, and then the other one is like civet poop coffee. You know, it's still coffee, but there's different stuff going on. There's different flavor. It's so gross, though. So this card is from my music deck that I made for myself. I still haven't finished fixing it and redoing it, you know, because I am my only employee and I don't get paid well, and I have too much work to do. So all of the stuff where I would have to sit there and draw 72 cards is on the back burner till I get this other backlog of stuff done. But it's not really supposed to be about me. I'm just kind of blabbing a little because it's like 4:30 in the morning and I'm kind of tired. But, my music deck here, this one. So I have her on here. This is a photo from some promotional thing or a CD or something. I liked it because her hair was all glowing in it. Fields of Gold. Right, a cover song. I was listening to this for like hours, like a week or so ago. I had the Songbird album on replay. I just had to keep playing. Actually, it was a different song, but I listened to Fields of Gold a few times too. I think I was just listening to the song Songbird. But I couldn't stop listening to it. I'm like, alright, that's enough. I'm like, no, I need to listen to it for 2 more days. So I have her on here. And of course, I couldn't quite remember the lyrics, but it was like, do you remember me? Like when we walked in fields of barley. It's something like that. I can't remember the words exactly. Oh, do you remember me? And then there's still something, when we walked in fields of barley. I don't know. I'm not gonna get the lyrics, but she's also, you know, sort of known, sort of famous in her small little circle for singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And I don't have her version in my deck, but I have Israel here. Don't feel like butchering his last name right now, so I'm going to skip it. He passed... I don't think he was super young. I feel like he might have been like 40 or 50. I mean, obviously he wasn't like super old, but he did a mashup of Somewhere Over the Rainbow and What a Wonderful World. And I feel like their versions have a similar essence, right? They have the same value. They would both be, you know, they would both be medium gray if it was in black and white. even if one was like green and the other was purple. It's like a similar soothing vibe. So I brought out both of these cards. We have a Four of Wands, and then we have the Queen of Cups. Queens for me are usually 13, although they can be 1. So we have 2 numbers that equal 4 here. I also see like 33. Like if you see a 3, the next number is going to be 4. So it's like holding your breath before adding that one number. But 13 is also the death number, which is a little bit morbid, but it's not just death. It's like ascension and transformation. It's looking at the shadow element. So, and like some of the thing with her is like, if she was very shy, she was like, was sort of like compelled to create, right? It's like when she starts singing, that's it. That's what she's doing for the rest of her life, basically. It's like unable to stop, right? I am compelled to create. That's the difference between somebody who's like an artist and someone who's just, you know, likes to draw once in a while. It's like, oh, you know, like, oh, wow, I haven't drawn anything since I was a little kid, you know, because most children draw pictures. And it's just, it's like weird for me. It's like you got to a certain age and then just like didn't draw pictures anymore. Like, what? You know, because like there's no way to stop doing art if you're in that sort of creative person mode. So for her, it would be the singing, and it's just like, it's like she has, like, that's what she has to do with her life. Like, she's not going to be able to do, you know, desk job or, you know, flight attendant or something. But just very shy. And I know she did session work, and it said that in the Wikipedia too. Like people knew her a little bit. Some people knew her a little bit. So I wanted to bring that out. And I thought it was weird because I've been seeing this deck in association with her. This is the, oh, come on, the Starseed Oracle. So I know she wanted this one. And I did get the Mystical Shaman Oracle. I feel like she didn't really want any tarot. But when I was digging around in the box that I have these in, this is also, I store this one in the same box. And I was looking at the these Morgan Greer cards. And I had to pick them up because I kept seeing the Lover's card. So I'm probably going to have to pull that out unless she pulls it out herself. But she told me not to shuffle the decks. I was like, well, yeah, but I always clear and shuffle the decks. And I'm just like, it feels wrong to me somehow. But that's what she said. So we're going to not shuffle the decks, which is weird. I'm like, but I have to clear the energy. That like, and I was thinking, well, what was the last thing I used these decks for? And a couple of them, I know I used probably both of these for card of the day for the end of November, and I haven't used this one in a few weeks, so maybe also card of the day, maybe for might have used it for a personal reading for myself, or I might have used it for one of the ELF readings, the Elemental Focus. These ones I'm not sure what I used them last on. It's been a while. They're pretty potent. I needed a break. I think the last thing I used these for might have been the deck review. I don't know if they're still in order. They don't seem to be in order, but I mean, I did shuffle them after. I might have used them since then. I'm not sure. So for whatever reason, she didn't want me to shake the energy out of these decks that was left over from last time, which I thought was weird. I thought it was weird, but it's sort of like leaving the cards anchored to their recent past is sort of like an allegory to anchoring her soul to her human life. Because, I mean, 1996 is 25 years ago already. Like, it's been a minute. I mean, that doesn't really stop anyone else. I mean, how long has Marilyn Monroe or Jim Morrison been gone and their energy came through? For some reason, I just get Elvis piping up in the background. Maybe he was the other person. I'm not sure, though. Like, I totally knew it the night that I got that information, and then the next day when I got up, or whenever like, a couple days later when I remembered, I just gone. Totally gone. Right now, I have Archangel Michael waiting in line. He's being a little bit pushy, but he can wait a minute. So, I should say that a lot of the time when I do these entity channelings, I see them, it's like I'm sitting in a radio station booth, and I'm talking in my little, like, enclosed area, and they're, like, in this, like, sound booth, and, like, with a window, like, next to it, and I'm, like, talking to them. Or if it's more casual, we're, like, in the same room, but I see them, like, sitting in this little, like, talk recording studio, like an interview. Although for some reason I watched my John Lennon one back like a month ago, and he had wanted to be in like Abbey Road Studios, like a musical recording studio, and he wanted to sit in the middle and insisted on it. And that just flashed in my mind. But for Eva, I feel like she's like hovering in the back of my mind, like in sort of a basement, like a gray basement room or something. Sort of like in the Matrix when they go into like a practice room, but just sort of like gray and misty. Not like the sort of gray cloudscape that Michael brought me to when I was in high school. It was like it's not like light gray and iridescent and everything's made out of clouds. It's like a darker gray, like that gray. That's like glue. It's not something worse than that. It's like that gray. And it's just sort of like a glamour shot kind of haze. And it's like I can see her, but she's sort of invisible. And I had that when I saw some specific beings crossing a road. They were like, you couldn't see them, but you know, like I could see them. So it also feels like she's just sort of like she's hovering around my head, but like in back of me. So if I turn, she's still not in my peripheral vision. But then I can also like see her like this, like sort of floating. So that's kind of weird, but that's how I'm seeing her. Like I don't see her just like materializing as a body. And maybe it's because her body like deteriorated on her. I don't know, but that's how I'm seeing her. But I don't really hear her like talking, but sort of like I kind of know what her voice sounds like. I didn't think to look up any, see if there were any interviews or something to see what she sounded like talking. But to be fair, I mean, I didn't really know what Marilyn Monroe sounded like talking when I had her come either, because I don't think I saw, I didn't see, wait, is Some Like It Hot the one with, I think it was Some Like It Hot. I didn't see that until after that. That movie's really long. Okay, so cards. Just trying to like, my been putting this off and putting this off, and I was thinking all day I was going to do this, and then I didn't stop trying to do the other work I was doing. So I'm not sure how this is going to... I don't even know how I'm supposed to do this. That's so weird to not, like... It kind of feels like... She feels like a hologram. Like she's made out of mist, like she's coming like long distance. Among the fields of gold. It's like I can hear this, the way that the lyrics sound, but I can't pick out the individual words. And like Victor Borge moaning along with the soprano singing. Hey, I didn't know there was 2 cards there. This one's Amy Winehouse. There's not an incidents. Let me see what she's got over here. Water your garden, nourishment, body care, tenderness, and rest. That's kind of harsh. Okay. Alright, so let's see what Ava's got here. Okay, I've got dry balls because I've been doing a lot of work on the computer. Okay, so this is inverted. It says portal, doors are opening, you decide, rewards, and wild card. This kind of looks like a lot like the room that she's in, only this is brighter. Actually, that looks kind of more like where Michael had me. This is a much grayer version of this. I mean, where I'm seeing her looks a lot more like this, actually. But there's no features. It's just this color. Portal. Now, 13, if this was the death card, could be a transition where you'd be going through a portal. Another inverted card. Trust the timing. Trust the wave you came in on. Time is not running out. That makes me think of Muse. They have a song like Time is Running Out. This is like she's not really talking. She's sort of showing that this time is running out inverted is related to her dying early. Like it seems like her time was up before it was supposed to be, but in fact it was like for some reason she had came what she set out to do. It's like she was like we're in, we're out, we're going home, we're only shopping the list. But her music got a lot bigger after she died. Like it was like a little bit like Van Gogh. Oh, okay, here we have an open one. An open one? Okay, an upright card. The Golden Children, inner child, tenderness, innocence, and rare gifts. This is the energy that I usually feel when I see her. This is this tenderness. Like the sweetness of her voice. It wasn't, it's not a childlike voice. It's like an adult woman's voice when she's singing, but it's very sweet and tender. It also says rare gifts, right? Her voice was that. I'm gonna get one of these. I'm trying to remember any of the other songs that she sings. She's giving me If I Had a Golden Thread. And a needle so fine. The arrow. That needle for the thread. This card is about like where you're sending your energy. It's very Sagittarian. But look, we have number 3 here already. Corn, number 10. So that's 30 right there. This is about harvesting and abundance. Fields of gold. That's what corn is. I mean, it's like yellow in there. Like, you're not going to see it. But when it dies and it goes to straw, then it's gold as well. So it's gold when you open it, when you're going to eat it and get the nourishment, which was not happening over here. But it's gold when it's dying as well. Like the sunset is golden. It was like the sunset on her life when she was gold, basically. I mean, some of the aspect of the Queen of Pentacles is abundance, and we see that coming in here. But it's weird because it's like it didn't happen until after she was already gone. It's like she's planting the crops for someone else. So I know you couldn't see me shuffling these, but I didn't want to hit the camera. So you have the Holy Mountain and this other card that's coming off. 39, the Owl, coming up inverted, and this Holy Mountain, number 25. Okay, so I'm seeing a Hierophant card with this. Usually the mountain is a challenge, but why is the mountain going sideways? It looks like this. This owl. Not really supposed to stay inverted. It's like a... It's like delayed satisfaction. But satisfaction isn't the right word. And it's not... Oh, gratification? Delayed gratification. This is like something pushing into a different timeline. Like the... It's like this is like the barrier between worlds, right? You'd think the veil, right? Something about this dimension is expanding into the other one. Because it's a mountain, it might be like, is it physical? Is the physical world expanding somewhere? But what would the sky be? That would be, I mean, it should be the spiritual world. But I can't help but get out like this gold. Everything gold. This owl. This is something that was not anticipated. But what does that mean, though? Like I can't quite get what she's trying to convey here. What it looks like is the material world like expanding like that insulating foam up into the spiritual world, but it's like you know, when Romulus and Remus were born, I think it was that story, one of them, or maybe it was Castor and Pollux, whatever. Usually the stories of the twins, one of them comes out normally, the other one kicks a hole in his mother's side, right? The C-section. This is like blowing out the side. It's like the physical world is herniating into the spiritual world in some way. But it's coming in on the Holy Mountain, which makes me think that it's not non-toxic. I have no idea what the hell she's talking about. And I mean, she's like not really talking either. She's sort of showing. And we're not going through the door, we're going through the window. Like a window of opportunity. Look at this, there's a gateway. A gateway into the sun. What if this gateway is on top of this mountain? Like we're here, and then it's like enhance, 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 and then when you zoom in, this is what you're seeing. The mountain is extending because there's this doorway opening. This arrow is like a test shot, right? We've got this number 3 shooting to see if it's okay to send the whole mountain that way. It's like we're gonna drag the whole, like a grappling hook. Like, phew. Which is weird because I said a window, and I was watching this video, Native Lang YouTube channel, about the formation of French since it's separated out from the other Romance languages. And I had to yawn for a second. I kept thinking of the word defenestration, which means to throw somebody out a window. And it's an English word that we have in English. But like being pensive, we don't use the common word in everyday language that's normal in French, right? Because penser is to think, and then we have in English the word pensive. But in French, they have the word fenêtre, which is window. And then all we have is defenestration. And I feel like it was like in the Netherlands or Finland or somewhere. Or wait, what's the other one? Denmark. Maybe it was Denmark. They had some politician who was being like a total piece of crap, and they threw him out a window. So it was punishment of defenestration, to be thrown out the window. And that's what this made me think of. But it's not, it's like, instead of yeet, it's like more of a yoink. Like we're not exiting, we're entering. Those Zoomers need to come up with an opposite for yeet that can be used to mean like going in instead of throwing out. Start another segment. Okay. I don't know if I'm gonna get the Lover's card or not. But I definitely saw it when I was picking up this deck. What's this one? Which one is you looking at me? The King of Swords. I think I just heard the neighbor's rooster. What time is it? 5:15. Sun's not up yet, Broham. Oh, not quite the Lovers. All right. Oh, okay, got so on too. The Devil. The Devil's in the details. 10 of Pentacles. This is all like retrograde energy. Everything's backwards. Well, yeah. This is all these cards being backwards and this going in sideways. It's like being pulled by the seat of your pants, but it's like even though the pulling is coming, it's dragging you. It's like you're stuck in that position, but it's pulling you forward instead of backwards. It's like there's no orientation. I love this card. It's these spider fangs. So this go. I'm a Capricorn, so this is my wheelhouse here. But Venus retrograde and Saturn. Okay. This is Venus in Cancer, isn't it? No, this is Scorpio. Which one is this? I thought it was the Two of Cups, but it's the Six. Oh, it's the Sun in Scorpio. Okay. We've got an eclipse energy here. Fourth of December, is that when that is? Yeah. This is the moon in Sagittarius starts on December 3rd. December 3rd. Sagittarius energy. This is like I'm being dragged by the seat of my pants. Even though I'm being pulled forward, I'm looking behind me, and I'm fast forwarding from the 3rd to the 6th of December, but I'm looking at the 5th because there was that eclipse. And it's like it's like a video that's speeding up and slowing down, and oh, I know what this is. There was a clip that I saw on Twitter from the show Red Dwarf. And I haven't seen any episodes of that show in like over 20 years, but it was heckin' funny. One of my friends had it in high school. I mean, I'm still friends with her, but when we were in high school, she had a shirt that said one of the Smeg Off shirts, because she was really into that show and could afford shirts. But the clip was about, okay, apparently time dilation, because that's the phrase that popped into my head. It was like it kept repeating, and then it would skip ahead, and then it would go back, and then it would repeat, because they were being dragged into a white hole, which is the opposite of a black hole, where the matter is like streaming out. And it was affecting the way that time was moving. And they're like, oh, well, if time is screwed up, then we'll just go back in time now and move ourselves away from it, and it'll be fine. But the joke of it was that they kept repeating and skipping and then cutting back and then repeating. It was like a video that was scrambled. And that's what this looks like. Right? Where the ship is approaching and all the time space is being weird, but it's I'm being, where's the, this is like I'm being sucked into the black hole. It's like darker here, and there's like a space. But if we go through the gateway, the time gateway, where the white hole is on the other side, there's all this matter like exploding outwards. Some people have said there's a doorway in the sun, and that the sun is actually a white hole, and that there's like, if you go into the center, you'll get there's a black hole there, and you can travel through it and go back in time. So what's this King of Swords doing here? He's a 14. Oh, okay, she wants me to look at the energy. What is his energy? Capricorn and Aquarius. Okay. So Saturn is in Aquarius right now. Oh, okay. This has to do with Chronos, Father Time, which is Saturn, and Aquarius, which is communication. But I was just talking about time and communication. I also gotta say that it's weird that since Ava was a singer, that she's talking, she's not really speaking to me, she's giving me visual cues. But if she was somebody who also did visual arts, that would make sense. It's weird though, because like most of the other people that I've had the entity channeling sessions with, they just talk. Like, I feel like even Frida Kahlo just talked, because she is like super visual artist. Ava's showing me different paths. Sort of the, like, different strokes for different folks. And now my battery is dying. I don't think this is the end of the reading, but I think I have to change the battery now. So I'm going to make another segment. Of course, I was having this conversation while I was changing the battery. What was I saying? Oh man, now it's gone already. Why am I forgetting this already? Nothing. It was sort of like along the lines of like why she would be talking about like metaphysical stuff or like quantum mechanics and things. Man, that was a really interesting like 2-second conversation. That was all going on in my head with her while I was changing the battery, and it's freaking gone. I think it had to do with the way that space-time is moving. What? I was talking about the King of Swords. And that he's I was going to say representing Father Time, but he's cutting time. Like opening up the timelines. But in order to open them up, they have to start solidifying. But why is she talking about that? Like what? Like how, I think I was asking like how someone so artistic could be so technical. I mean, not that you can't, because, I mean, I was taking like calculus and shit and I got an art degree, but, what is the... I was trying to get like a reason for this reading. I mean, I'm staring at this. I need to go in the middle. Oh, that's kind of not really... Maybe my glasses are screwed up. It's like, why isn't that in focus? Like, because you've been looking at stuff for 3 days straight and your glasses were on crooked. That's why. That's still not right. Somewhere in the middle. This one. Underneath it, though. Come on. Okay. The Queen of the Night. Oh, Whitney Houston. Maybe she was the other person. It might have been her. But came inverted again. Why is everything upside down and backwards? We've got the full moon on November 18th. November 19th. And we're like zooming backwards through the 18th. So where's the moon on November 18th? It's still in Taurus though. Okay. So it's like the timelines are starting to... Okay. With the age... With the age of Aquarius stuff, especially all the stuff that was going on at the beginning of 2021, the timelines were really fuzzy and hazy. And they've continued to be kind of fuzzy and hazy, like that gray room that she's floating in. Like, she is the timeline. She's just sort of misty. And she's not solidifying because it's like she's like the electron cloud, like the possibility. She's the probability field. And what's going on now, that's sort of like, it's like the full moon on November 19th in Taurus it's like opening up a surprise box and finding that it's a box of Legos. Like a basic kit, like something like I would have gotten when I was little. Like me and my brother got a basic kit of Legos. Not those like fancy, like it's a pirate ship or Star Wars or anything. Just a basic kit of Legos, right? A little dude and a little lady and, you know, just a bunch of basic bricks. Like you didn't even get like flat ones, just like they were all this tall, like double tall. So it's like the full moon energy is like getting a box of, like opening a mystery box and finding out that it's a gift box of Legos, basic Legos. And they're like, what they really are little bits and pieces of time. And you can, you know, like that red dwarf clip, you can put them here, you can put them here, you can stick them back there, you can put like 4 of the same ones and like alternate them and then move them around and stick them back together again. And what's happening is that as we move into, it's like coming in the beginning of 2022, I think it's like January 12th or something like that, something in that range. I think that's when Uranus goes direct in Taurus. I think that's what's happening. But I had reported earlier in one of my videos that the full moon is like a preview of that, right? So we're opening the box, we're getting to play with it, but we're not really going to know what we're building, what timeline we're building, right? It's like it comes with instructions and you can build this timeline or this timeline or this timeline or this timeline. Which is, I gotta get something. Ow, ow. Ouch, 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 ouch. Oh, don't drop this. Because that would make me cry. Oh god, this is dusty. I need a can of air for this. Send Jeremy flying. Still dusty. I have used my instructions to build this. Alright, this is a fancy set. But I could have built, you know, a rocket or a house or whatever. But the thing is, as we get into that January 2022, the timelines are going to solidify and they're going to drop out. And now we have a thing. Right? It's like being in the sea of holes. And then popping out into somewhere. Right? It's like, what's going on? What's happening? Like, what is it? Like, what are we doing? Like, oh, it's a submarine. Let's climb in there. It's suddenly a solid object. It's not like, you know, it's not like getting in Wonder Woman's plane and then finding out that, you know, you were naked the whole time. So it's like things seem out of order. Like you might not know what day of the week it is, and it might seem like it's been Friday 3 days in a row. Maybe it has been. Why did today go by in an hour? Why is tomorrow going by in like 4 days? It doesn't make any sense. And it is not just like people are tired and busy and they haven't been outside in 2 years. It's the timelines are assembling and disassembling and reassembling. And I started out by saying that she'd been gone for 25 years, and that seems like a while ago. But if we're taking this brain and piercing through it, maybe it's still 1996 over here. And she's just like, hey, what's going on? Like, let me peek my head through here and see what's happening. And I feel like it's still not the end of the reading. What's this card? Didn't I pull? Oh, it was the Queen. Okay. I was like, didn't I pull one of these already? It was this guy. So the Eight of Wands. Right. Communication. Right. So Aquarian energy is dealing with new ways of communicating. But because that Saturnian energy is there, it's like, again, I'm not seeing it as like work to do or taskmaster. It's all about time, universal timing. So this song on here is Bring It On Home to Me, Sam Cooke. And, I mean, I got this stupid graphic that I found, right? It's like talking on the phone. It's like, I've got to get a message to you. Like, who's calling? It's like, don't worry, I'm not calling about the warranty on your car. This is important. Like I've got this whole, it looks like a cat litter pan. I've got this whole, like, I got a whole bunch of shit to tell you. Like listen for the synchronicities. Like, keep your ear to the ground and listen for the train tracks, the train coming, the buffalo coming. Got a little submarine dust in there. I'm listening to the lyrics in my head. Hold on. Of course, I can hear like the sound of the song, but I can't hear the lyrics either. It's like I can almost make it out. It's like right on the tip of my tongue, but it's still like it's not dropping down. It's like there's no tangibility to it. It's like a vague concept. And this is what's happening with the time. It's happening with the time. It's like we're existing in this day-to-day space, and it's like, what's going on? Like, what? But it's like the power is out in this galaxy, and you know, we're doing flashlights and candles every day, and we're like waiting for the juice to come back on so we can get on with it. And it's been like a really, and I mean, it's really been going on for a couple years, but basically since like, I was gonna say November, but I'm getting October. Since October of 2020, things have been like real misty, like real intangible. There's also, I'm going to go back to this water your garden thing that came. it's the reason this water your garden is inverted is because if you tried to like drop anchor, if you tried to plant seeds and grow something during like an earthquake, which is basically what's happening, right? Like like ooh, speaking of earthquake, right? The like it's expanding into the other zone. That's what happens like with earthquakes, right? You have the earth move. It's going sideways. It's expanding. It's exploding. It's blowing up. It's the landmass is increasing. But the way, like trying to anchor your path in in a timeline when all the little bricks are being rearranged is like trying to plant seeds in the middle of an earthquake. If you water that garden, doesn't like it's not going to do shit because the earth is just going to like yeet it that way, and your plants are going to be like, what the crap, man? So this nourishment and body care thing seems impossible. It's sort of like survival mode. But the general idea is, even though there's a delay on being able to like ground basically, you still have to have this like tenderness and try to rest, even though everything seems like a dream world. I'm trying to like see if she has anything to say about like body health in particular. Like, does it relate to her? Like, does telling other people to rest have anything to do with her dying of cancer? I mean, and it's weird too because melanoma is usually related to the sun, and I'm talking about the sun here. Like, if you go too close to the sun, you're going to get radiation. And you could think of that as like radiation poisoning. A lot of people end up developing cancer from radiation poisoning. And we're thinking about skin cancer too. We did have this devil card come up. Capricorn's skin, bones, teeth. Right? Her bones disintegrated. Also think of that like disintegration. Usually think of integration as like bringing parts of yourself together. But in this case, the disintegration was the timelines. And I find that it feels like routinely like I've popped into a different timeline. I noticed like weird things with words that suddenly keep popping up online. I'm like, that's not right. Like, when did that start happening? It's different than the like that Berenstain Bears thing and the Mandela effect, and like food packaging. It's it's like a it's like a like where did that tree go? Like did I actually do this thing like 10 years ago or did I not? Is that a dream? It seems like something's not there that was supposed to be there. It's a loud vehicle. I'm also getting that she's kind of warning people that the timeline quakes can like wreak havoc on your physical body. And that if you feel like tired and lazy, that it's okay to rest. Like, it's okay to float and to not have to like paddle and kick all in a direction all the time. You know, it's like it's like you'll get going where you want to if you just let yourself float downstream, because you don't know it, but somebody's going to have a car down there and they'll bring you back up the hill instead of like fighting upstream. I also just heard like don't cross the streams from Ghostbusters, but she's showing me more of like timeline streams crossing. She's oh. Okay. She's saying fields of gold again and showing me this corn. This is a little bit zoomed in, but we're looking at, like, imagine a whole field of corn. If you've never seen a cornfield before, because I know some people won't, it's sort of, it used to be more common around where I live, but you'll see just like, you know, a football field's worth of corn. And if you've seen, you know, if you live in cities or you live somewhere where corn isn't grown, they have these giant fields full of corn and they're in rows. So you see someone who's got their hair braided in corn rows. That's basically what rows of like actual plant corn look like. They're just, you know, 12 feet tall and green. She's showing me that the fields of gold is like not just one sun as a dimensional portal. Where the hell is the other card? Where did I put it? My freaking card. Oh, here it is over here. She's sitting on it. Imagine a whole field where, like, instead of corn plants, there's a golden sun ball. Like, I don't even have any friggin' like marbles or beads or anything. Piece of paper or something. But imagine, dig if you will, this picture. Imagine, oh god, that's needs to be in focus better. Imagine like if this was rows of corn. Each circle is a corn stalk. But she's showing me that instead of the corn plants, each one of these is one of those sun balls. And each one of them has that portal in it. So it's like this whole field of gateways opening and closing, where it's like each gateway is a timeline. And that's, I mean, I had that, I like reference to the Sea of Holes, but this is, if you have the Sea of Holes, this is the Sea of White Holes, where the light is coming out of them. And it's like a switchboard, like an operator switchboard, where they'd be like, "Hello, connect me to so and so," and they're like, "Okay," and they got in the wire and they put it in the other hole. This is kind of what's going on with the timelines. You can imagine this would be like, oh, why can't I remember? Is it the Resonance Academy? Resonance Academy, Nassim Haramein and company. Not like a company that's owned, but like, and other people. They're talking about how each proton is connected by like billions of wormholes to every single other proton. Or photon. Every single photon is whatever. One of the two. Every single one is connected via these infinite number of wormholes to every single other one in the universe. So they're saying it's like holographic. But imagine like all these like switchboard wires connecting and then unconnecting and connecting back over and over again. A lot like the Lego bricks. But they're all like entangled with each other. You know, like I poke this one and this, like I punch this one and this one cries over here. I don't know why I came up with a violent thing, but it's, you know, this one falls and this one cries, that kind of thing. Like they're twins, but there's a whole field of these discs, these sun discs, this field of white holes, the sea of holes. And they're all like glowing sun discs. And it's like this is the mechanism for the timeline shift. So if you were looking at this from you know, a distance, it would be that sort of gray mist. But when you zoom in, you can see all of these sun disks, and you can see the material world keeps like crossing into one timeline and then going back and then crossing into another timeline. And you see that, you know, the gateways are open, but nothing is solid. Right, it's like whack-a-mole, or like the flaps keep opening on, what am I seeing that on? Some kind of sci-fi horror movie. Oh. What is... In the movie The Shadow, it reminds me of the locks on the sarcophagus thing. Yeah, a whole bunch of locks on their sarcophagus. The guy's looking at it, and they just start opening on their own. They go like flap, 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 and he gets scared and like runs away or something. But it's like a series of like switches or flaps opening and closing constantly. So like imagery after imagery after imagery, different ways of explaining how the timelines are moving. And again, I'm not quite sure why she's the one presenting this information. Like, I still don't understand why. I mean, for me, it made sense that Marilyn Monroe was talking about standing up for yourself. But why... I've had Eva Cassidy after me for a week, and she's talking about timelines. I'm not quite sure. Maybe there's a timeline where she's a scientist, and that one's overlapping this one. And because she's no longer in a body, because, I mean, she's 63, she wouldn't be that old. She'd still be in her 50s if she was alive. She would be like a program director or something. But if she, like, there has to be a timeline where she's like a fleet director or something, and for some reason she's like connecting with herself in this timeline where she's... It's a loud vehicle. It's like she's connecting to this timeline where she's been disembodied for 25 years and is like, well, hey, me in this timeline, I can see you, I can feel you, like, we should probably like send this message. But it's like there doesn't have to be that conversation, because it's like her oversoul like knows what it's doing, and it's like set up to carry out a certain mission. But it's like the frequency in her music, like the sound of her voice is sort of like leaving an imprint in all of the timelines where she passed, either as like a calling signal or a homing signal for her to be able to come back and do that work without a physical body, or it's like what they call self-activating software, where like it hits a certain mark, like just like those flaps, right? When it's like, oh, we're being taken out of the shipping box, it's time to start flipping open. Like a pop-up. You know, like if it's like if your Roomba hit the wall and then all of a sudden a Jack in the Box came up out of it because that was the program. So it's kind of like the recordings that she left could have, you know, once they'd been, like the music itself is still being played by someone like all the time, because I'm not the only one that listens to her music. Like, and it got to this, you know, it says, okay, it's been 25 years, like, now that when your voice is played over the airwaves, it's going to open up this cosmic software that allows this information to come through, or for you to come through to do some energy work in some way. And that would make sense. Like if it was a cosmic hologram, that would make sense why she's not really talking and why it's sort of hazy and vague. But it could also be like a remote viewing thing from herself in another timeline where she's currently alive. Because, I mean, I will say I had a really weird dream recently where I was definitely in another timeline where I had been injured and in a coma, and it took place in what now would be like 20 years ago, 21 years ago. And there were definitely marked differences that I stood out to me as being different that I remembered when I woke up, like differences in the house, differences in the number of siblings, and like how my parents looked, i.e. much younger. So it's like, for some reason, I had to be in that timeline to wake myself up in that timeline. But, you know, that's sort of my duty to that version of me. So if I'm actively, I mean, we're all entangled with other versions of ourselves in the same way. But if she's, like if I'm skipping around in other timelines doing work, then there's no reason that she wouldn't be doing the same thing. And instead of being in a coma in this life, she's actually just been like physically gone. But there's no reason why her in another timeline where she's, you know, alive and doing some kind of like science-y work wouldn't be able to connect to herself in this timeline at any point, right? Because like I said, like I went on my timeline on a different timeline, but it was 20 years ago. So, but it's like wherever your energy signal is, you can still connect to it. So I'm either getting a hologram of her that doesn't speak and is connected to that other timeline, or I'm getting like a ghost, more or less a ghost. So it's hard to say what I'm getting, but for some reason she's giving me images really instead of in just like snippets of her singing than actually saying anything. And again, it's not like okay, say this now, say this now. It's not like when I was talking to Freddie Mercury and he's like blah 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 right in my ear, like I'm I've got to repeat what he says word for word. It's like, this is the impression that I want you to see, and then you have to talk about it, and then now I have to talk about why it is like it is. Like, it's like she wants, it's like she's trying to get me to talk about me more than about her. And that might be because she's shy, but it's also like there's a series of events that have happened since the last time I channeled somebody, like increasing, like ramping up, like exponentially this week to all, like the other 3 things that happened that were related to it. So those timelines, there's something very interesting going on with the chronology. And this indication, sort of like, oh, I can feel it in my bones. But it's like, don't forget to rest, but also, like, if you feel like the carpet's been ripped out from underneath you, like you can't, like, I can't ground, I can't collect myself. It's because the timelines are shifting. It's, like I said, it's like a cosmic earthquake, but it's not like a physical one. It's like everything is shifty, right? We're getting pre-shocks and aftershocks, and, the tectonic timeline plates aren't cooled yet. It's still, it's still toasty. You get the toothpick is still sticky. So that's what's going on right about meow. So, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I would say, definitely listen to her singing Fields of Gold, Eva Cassidy. And then go from there. Maybe the whole point of it is to make you more aware of experiencing the shifts in the timelines, so you don't think you're going crazy, or so you're like, what the hell was that dream? It's the shifting timelines. And I'm also not like, I don't know, I don't need to defend it, like, she knows what like, I'm not going to say like what her life purpose is or was, because I mean, that's her business. But just in terms of the message, there's certain, like, data that can be extrapolated. Like, part of the mission, whether she knew it when, like, in this timeline during those 33 years, was to trigger something that's going on now. And again, it could be like a different version of her entirely coming through. So even like with that Jeff Buckley reading where the information was inaccurate, it might have been accurate to the timeline that he was connecting from. Or it might have been there as a booby trap for people who were supposed to get pissed off and then not get any information from the reading. So for here, it was more like get the information, but then maybe skip around on the timelines to other versions of her that have little or no anchoring to what her biography is. Okay, so if you want to get a personal reading, get this one. You can email me. I'm just distracted because my camera doesn't have that much time on it right now. Email me. The complete list of readings I offer and how much they cost is going to be in the description box down below. If you found this helpful or useful or interesting in some way, you can donate PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. I've got art stuff you can get, merch, prints, real tangible original items here on Etsy. Coupon code 3star17, you'll get 17% off a purchase of 3 or more items. A couple of those things are only a few bucks. I have coloring books and some dark poetry over here too. All of this stuff can be found through my link tree. It's linktr.ee/cattheminion. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Check out my playlists tab and my discussion tab. And oh, that's right, they got rid of the discussion tab. I'm going to remember that. I got into a rhythm with my spiel. Stay groovy and we'll see you later. Bye.